one area where we are all struggling, including men, is emotions, you know. So my take on this is we are a damaged generation because we do not know what we are feeling. We are feeling angry when it's hot, when we are feeling when, you know, our boss is shouting at us. We're feeling angry when the kid is not doing something. We're feeling angry when the work is not. So every situation, our response is we're feeling angry because we've not gone in and, you know, seen, like you were talking earlier, like, okay, what does it make me feel like? What does what is it doing in my body? So while and you know, if people in my age group, they want to understand, they will, you know, because we are all adults now, we will go to therapy, or we'll go to talk to a counselor or whatever, read up and find out what's happening with us. But my question to you is that, you know, given that circumstance, what can our children's life look like, you know, in the absence of emotional intelligence? Because we, in that sense, are still living a simpler life. These kids will not, you know. So
And it is up to us to be a role model. So whether, and it's also for us, we have to be aware and to break the cycle. So we
right.
do not want to, often you may have heard of the saying, I open my mouth and my mother comes out.
Right.
And it happens at the work. Like it often happens when we're tired, when we're stressed, when we're
Correct.
really rushed, because what's gone on again, when we're parented, when we're little, our brains don't take it in here. So what happens is the way we're parented actually gets processed and put at the back of the brain. It's a procedural memory.
Correct.
So it's something that we've observed and that we go, okay, this is how you parent a child. But we don't think that we're taking that in and storing it as that. It's like riding a bike. Okay, this is how you ride a bike. And we take it and store it. So what we have to realize is if we know that we are not as aware of our emotions as we possibly could be, we'll have to work on that as well. It is like breaking the cycle. It's understanding then and saying, okay, well, I know I have to work on that, but sometimes I have to say it out loud for my child. So it might be, you know what? I am frustrated. Mama was going
Mm,
for that interview and I had to work hard, but it didn't go my way. So I'm disappointed. I
mm,
feel disappointed. And sometimes in life, when you run a race at school or when you do an exam or when you sit for a test, you're not always going to do the best either. And that's okay because mama
correct.
gets disappointed, dad gets disappointed, or fathers get disappointed. And when that happens, sometimes I might go take a bubble bath, or I might go for a run, or I go outside, or I call a friend.
Mm,
So these are some of the ways that make me feel better when I feel disappointed, when
mm,
I'm frustrated, because sometimes, this is why playing games with kids is so important as adults. Like
okay.
when we play games with them, it could be Monopoly or whatever the games are, where one of us wins and one of us loses.
Mm,
It's always
okay.
good to, or it gets frustrating because
Yeah.
you're going around the board and something happens. You go, oh, I'm so frustrated, or oh, I really wanted that to happen. And say, at the moment I could say, oh, I don't want to play anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
is that fun for either of us? No, you want to play. So I might be frustrated, but I don't swear. I don't do these things. I keep playing and it doesn't, it feels. And then you know what? Something good in the game happens. So it's teaching them in those teachable moments. It's talking to them and scaffolding around that and saying, um, or when they might have been in the car, or where you were if you backed into something accidentally in the shopping center, or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like you hit a post, and
Mm-hmm.
you can say, oh, you know what, that's really, I'm cross at myself, I should have looked, or something like that. But it's going to be okay. I can fix the car. So it's talking to them about emotions, and as well, and for us, then understanding, going and looking on the internet for the emotions wheel. So what happened, as I talked to you before about Inside Out, there was anger, disgust, fear, happiness, and sadness. And those were the five emotions. Instead of just relying on those five emotions,
Mm-hmm.
we could go and look at the emotions wheel. And that talks about contentment, or
Mm.
gratitude, or it talks about all these other things. So rage is different to anger. They are
Mhm.
still negatively
Same
charged
family. Yeah.
emotions,
Mhm.
but that rage is rage. And it's
Yeah.
also to talk to the children about it's okay to feel these feelings. It's okay. So if you had two children at home and your older child bops the younger child on the nose because they've been building a tower for 2 hours with Lego and the little one
Yeah.
comes and knocks it over, what you can say is, it's okay to be angry. Absolutely. I'd be angry if I spent 2 hours doing
Yeah.
something as well, but it's not okay
Not
to
okay
bop
to
them on the
hit.
nose.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you can be angry. When you're angry, it might be we go outside to run, or we jump on a trampoline, or we rip some paper, or we do these things. We do not use our fists or our hands to hurt other people. So
Right.
it's talking to them about healthy ways of dealing with things, because exactly as you said, our generation, when we look at it, we haven't had those healthy ways. So
Yeah.
it might be that we've gone to alcohol. It might be that we smoke cigarettes, or that
Also.
we
Yeah.
eat a lot when we I know I used to emotionally eat, and sometimes I can still revert to that now because that was a
Mm.
behavior that I grew up with.
That's your
So
subconscious. Yeah.
yeah,
Response.
that's a trigger. Absolutely. You go to, especially if I find myself in a supermarket and I haven't got a list or things like that, and I'm feeling not so good, I will find myself going towards, oh, I'll pick out that chocolate, or I'll do this. Again, because it's that subconscious pattern of that's what made me feel better before. Because we will always go back to this feels yuck. We don't,
Mm.
as humans, we don't like feeling discomfort. What we as adults have to teach our children to do is sit with those feelings, and to learn to sit with them ourselves, because when we sit with them, they will eventually dissipate or go away, like they will
Yeah.
dissolve to
Ease
a
out a
certain
little bit.
degree.
Yeah. 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 Mm.
Yeah. So, yes, that's breaking that cycle and
Mm.
making sure that as we break that cycle, we're talking about it with our children and looking and saying, okay, how do we actually make this explicit for them? Because if we just keep it to ourselves, we're not actually using those things as teachable moments.